Why, hello there, fellow metallurgists. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Of Life and Land. Episode 5, Ramping Up Our Own Bronze-Making Workshop. And the shrine is built. So the shrine is going to... It doesn't have any employees, but it allows people to pray. So that will help with some of the morale problems that we've been having. So the other thing about the morale problems, right? Let's get said tap room. So I'm going to put a tap room... here. Actually, no, I don't want it there. Where do I want a tap room? I'll put it over here. Plop a tap room down and allow people to congregate around there. The mud road that I had laid out to the tin mines haven't been built yet. So after we build the tap room, I think I'm going to pump the brakes and wait a minute for them to get the roads built before I queue up anything else. Okay. Reason to Celebrate just kicked off. In the evening, the tables were set out on the street, and the whole village plays music, feasts, laughs, and dances. It is not until late at night that the last inhabitant goes to bed with a smile on their face. This celebration will be remembered for a long time to come. And, you know, that one's done too. So all we have right now is to reach 4 in prosperity level, which is like a bit of a stretch because we haven't even really conquered 3 yet. So that's a long-term goal. Would it be faster to go over the plateau to get to the mine? Probably not, because that would zigzag more. In terms of, like, the physical amount of tiles, maybe? Ultimately, it's, like, far no matter how you square it, I would say. Because if we went over the plateau, it would look like maybe this. We can build both roads and like ultimately just have them choose their desire path. The other thing is there's a stone quarry here. So once we get the, and there's a stone quarry there. So once we get the upgraded version of the stone quarry, which is, where's the stonemason? Here. We can build it around there, where it has 2 stone quarries. Or 3. I mean, there's a lot of them here, so. This whole area will be developed eventually. It's just, when is a bit of the question. And I'll try to change the path a little bit. See if they use that. I don't know. We'll see. So food's a little limited, but I'm not all that concerned about that. One thing I can do is I can take one of the sawing places workers and put them in the hunter's lodge. I'm sure there's things to hunt. So let's look at the census. Yeah, I mean, there's lots to hunt. So, red deer, hare, raccoon. We'll just keep clearing them out. The current stone gathering is finite, yes, while the other one is not. Correct. There's only a certain amount of stone. I mean, these places do have a lot of raw stone, but there's only a finite amount of raw stone around the simple stone mason that we had. I put the simple stone mason there just because it's a lot closer than having a stone mason go way out to where there would be a quarry. Because I didn't think that would be worth it. It'd be too much travel time. So the unhappy people that we have still need practical clothing, shrines. Apparently the shrine we have so far is not enough. They still want a tap room. And I think the tap room is going to solve a lot of those issues, and the tap room is almost built. So that will be a boon to our community for sure. Oh, and I see the road getting built. Sweet. Means there's enough idleness around to get the infrastructure in. So the tap room is built. Now with the tap room up, we're going to want to put a worker in there. So let's draw from... Oh, I don't know. Maybe pottery? As we have a decent amount of pottery stocked now. In fact, I think we're maxed out. Yeah, we don't have any more storage for pottery. And if that's the case, I am going to get rid of the processing tools upgrade to add storage for more pottery. So, in the tap room, let's see. We'll go with total used woods reduction for hewn stone. And storage out of grass, that's pretty cheap. And we'll just do those two right now. So we serve water, milk, fruit, cereal grains, wine, exotic fruits. Exotic fruits are something that would likely need to be imported. And until I can actually sell stuff over to the any of our neighbors, there's just not a lot of... We don't have any money for stuff like that. We do have another available quest, which is a brewmaster has a request. They want exotic fruits, cereal grains, and water, and they're willing to provide a lot of gold if we do it. So, to that end, it might be worth opening up our marketplace again to try to import that exotic fruit from the tablelands, because they obviously have a lot of it. But I think probably solving some of our more immediate morale issues is going to be more important anyway in the long run. So of the other tier 3 stuff we want to do, I would like to get the pottery together in order to build a farm. So we're going to want to stockpile 20 planks, 30 pottery. Grass I'm not going to worry too much about because grass is really easy to source in order to build a farm. And I want to replace the gatherer's hut with the gatherer's shack with the farm because the farm is simply better. And then now that we are starting to get the mud roads out to the tin vein, also getting that hit with the smelter. I think, and I did say this, but I'm going to go back on my word, I think I am going to make one more small cabin as a stopgap measure before I go to the big cabins, because it's going to be really hard to ramp up bronze making without some additional people. So I'll do another small cabin for now, knowing that like the big cabins is what I'm going to replace them with soon. So the local storage for pottery here is what, 20? Okay. What I could do in this case is bring some of our pottery into the internal storage. So request until we have 30. So basically fill up our marketplace with pottery and treat it like kind of like a internal storage, I guess. And I'm going to put an employee in here to allow us to start trading And I'll draw... Where do I bring that employee from? Maybe another one of the plank sawing. Alright, so Gomez is working in there now. Taking a look at our stockpiles, let's try to make more money. So I'm going to sell when our fruit is over 250. And I'm going to request internal storage at 100. I'm going to sell the leaves when it's over 250. And request internal storage of 100. Mushrooms at 250 and 100. Basically, once we have a decent excess of stuff, we'll part with it. We got a lot of milk. Oh, I closed my dairy production. But maybe we can try to export the milk too. And then in terms of raw resources, wool might be one of our best exports. So I'm going to sell when we're over 100. And internally request up to 50. And hopefully, and if you click the marketplace and you click the trade log, it will show you what you've bought and sold. So we can actually track like what Hochdorf buys, you know, over time. So I only have one sad person. Services offered in sufficient quality. Okay, so I don't have enough probably cereal grain for them to be happy in the tap room, I suspect. But we just entered the summer, so I'm sure that's just a lack of harvest. It will change. Because we're starting to really produce cereal grains now. So tap rooms are getting satisfied now, actually. Take it back. So it looks like practical clothing is a big one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise practical clothing up to be absolutely the top. So we do practical clothing, rags, and then basic clothing made of wool. I'm not going to do... Yeah, okay, there we go. So this order of process. So practical clothing is the highest tier now. And once we start supplying practical clothing, I think a lot of our morale problems are going to go away. I am still surprised that I've built the shrine and they're still like, meh, I need a shrine. Because it's like, well, go to it. I'm not stopping you. It's literally right here. Maybe I'll make it look different or something. I don't know. I'm just being fussy. So I'm already starting to get some practical clothing. Also keep in mind, if I have an excess amount of practical clothing, there's two new spots to discover if I have enough. Which I don't yet, but maybe soon. And we have even more copper. Yep, so here we go. Here's some trade. We sold wool, we bought copper for it, exchanging with Hochdorf. So there's some productive trade going on. Taproom now has cereal grain beer. And we have one person that's like overheating. They're probably near the campfire too long. But most of the morale issues have been resolved, it seems. Not all, but most. Good. Something's going right. Oh yeah, see? All the notices are gone. So if I take a look at the progress here, almost everyone is progress tier 3 now. Very few are progress tier 2, and the ones that are progress tier 2 are very high tier 2. So it's not like it's going to be long until they rank up as well. So one of the other things I wanted to do, and it's going to be a little destructive, especially in the middle of the summer, but that's fine. Get rid of the old gathering shack. to put together a farm. And I am going to make this the highest of highest priorities. So we do like a Amish level of barn raising here. Or farm raising. But the farm has more interior storage and is more efficient than the gathering shack that we get at like tier 0. So it's definitely going to be a benefit once it's constructed. I am sort of curious whether SEP in the root cellar is like being productive or not. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I sort of assumed that it would be a benefit to keep things in the root cellar, but I don't think I'm producing enough to warrant root cellar usage, so I'm going to actually fire SEP and put SEP in the farm once the farm is done being built. So the farm is just waiting on... Oh, planks that I don't have. Okay, so in that case, let's hire some plank cutters so that we can get the farm up sooner. Yeah, there we go. We have, as you can see, doing more trade exchange. With Hochdorf. Good stuff. There's the small cabin. Perfect. And I'm going to hire all 4. So we're all filled up. One of those people. Ooh, where to put them? So I was... I wanted another tailor, but until we have the farm up, we don't have a source of grass. Like, coming in. Also, it looks like the footprint of the farm changed a bit from the gatherer station, probably because of the angle that I planted. So I'm going to set up some more wheat fields down here, which are going to be accessible from the farm once the farm is built. So the farm only needs some planks left, but that is a bit of a bottleneck for us because we don't have them yet. Here we go. So that's the new footprint of the farm, more or less. Jumping from gather shack to farm is always a bit of a pain point like that. So now that we have the new cabin up, one of the reasons I did that is so that I could get tin income. So I'm going to put this as a low priority, but we are going to want a simple smelter to produce tin. And then subsequently, we're going to want the copper and bronze forge, and I'll put this up here too, so that we can take the tin, mix it with copper, and for bronze stuff. I know it's nowhere near our city center, just that's where we're sourcing the ingredients. Can you build bridges? Bridges are just like roads that you cross water with. So there's nothing special about a bridge. It's tech you have it like immediately. Sort of. I mean, there's this like puddle here, but generally speaking, that's the case. We don't have stone roads yet, though. That's tier 4. Well, the farm area looks very overgrown now as a result of not having anyone supplying it. I may need to just like have a stopgap gathering shack. I'm gonna do that. It feels weird, but we don't have enough grasses being supplied, so like I'm gonna do this just so that we can get the grasses to get the farm up. So farming is the grass collection is going to be the highest priority just so that we can get this built, because I don't think, unless we wanted to buy it from Hochdorf, which would be weird because it'd be like grass being imported from the desert, I don't think we were going to be able to source that ourselves. That and the sheep eat it. It's kind of important for them to have like a source of food. There we go. So now we have the grass. So we're just waiting on the planks. Once the planks are in, we'll get the farm up. And that should solve a lot of our food production problems. We also have the new simple smelter. So I'm going to hire 2 people in the simple smelter. And we're going to give them practical clothing for processing speed, because processing is really, really slow. And the rough hewn stone for reduction in total wood used. And once we start to see tin bars being produced, we'll know that it is working. And we can then turn those tin and bronze bars into, or tin and copper, sorry, into bronze. And if we check our trade, we've been selling raw meat, selling copper, or buying copper. So the raw meat has become an export for us, which is good. Because there's no shortage of animals around. If we take a look at the census here, we still have a ridiculous amount of deer. There's something like 125 red deer on the map tile, you know? So it's not like we're hunting them into extinction or anything. They're everywhere. Farm is up! Woo! Alright. Now that the farm's up, I'll leave this gathering shack because it doesn't hurt to have it. But I'm going to hire all the farmers. We'll put processing speed, rough hewn stone, rags for carry space, raw wood for storage space for now, and then we can think about other upgrades later. Oh, uptime isn't working. I mean, it's the same as every stream. Got another hour. There we go. Now we have loads and loads and loads of farmers. And that should help to... I might not need this many in the long run, but that should help temporarily supporting our population as we grow. So, some of the others that we have not yet done. We are waiting on the bronze workshop, or the forge. We haven't yet built the carpenter or the bakery, and that will probably come post-forge, neither of which require actual bronze, however. And the granary would be a good one as well, especially if we added another farm to gather even more grain. Because our cereal grain count is going to skyrocket pretty fast, I suspect. What job vacancy? That's vacant. Okay, let's not hire for that then. Once we are able to make bronze parts in this forge, which I'll label as highest priority, we can start to build the large houses. And that's going to allow like a explosion of population growth. Oh, we're tier 4. Who hit tier 4 and who do I have to thank for that? Astrid did. So, just to take a look, not that I'm really going to take advantage of Tier 4, Asteroid managed to fulfill Taproom, Clothing, Offspring, and Faith all at once, unlocking Tier 4. So Tier 4 requires a hearty kitchen for better meal quality, a cozier home, so small cabin or better, that has firewood, work less than 71 hours a week. I'll need to change the scheduling for that. And I'm not going to worry about that until a lot more people are at Tier 4. Accessories like jewelry, bags, tools. Basically wants jewelry. Soap in a wash house. And then faith in a more significant house of worship like a church or a cathedral. Probably a church. The actual buildings that are getting unlocked. A stonemason shop, which allows us to not just do rough-hewn stone, but stone blocks, which is required for, like, stone roads. A bloomery, which smelts and mines and smelts iron. Keep in mind, of course, that there is no natural sources of iron on this map tile. It's tin and tin only. But the bloomery requires coal rather than firewood. It's a higher temperature. Glassworks, allowing us, but that requires lead, which is not present on this map tile either. And a beehive for honey. For the production, charcoal pile to be able to make charcoal. A sawmill, which is a watermill sawmill. That would be really good to have, except for the fact that it requires bronze parts and iron tools, which I do not have. But the way you would normally build those is the water wheel has to be on the water. Then we have the dairy. Requires bronze tools. But a dairy, being able to larger produce dairy more than like this open workshop thingy. The iron forge and the butcher workshop to salt and preserve meats, specifically for export. This one's kind of nice once you have the carpentry for it, because normally you can't preserve your meats as well, and this uses like leaves and grass and firewood, and then it leaves you with like smoked meats. Then in the community, you've got the Hardy Kitchen, which is one of the first needed things for community. And that's bronze tools and bronze parts to be able to make. So we're obviously going to need that bronze workshop up and running for that. You got the wash house, which I had just mentioned, but that's furniture. And that means we need carpentry, which we haven't built yet. The church. And the church requires stonework, which we don't have either. The harbor, which is a trade area, allows us to trade goods all over the empire, and that's iron tools. So there's a lot of, and then the stone roads themselves, which require actually stone bricks, so we need a stonemason for that. Yeah, I think that's it. So there's a lot of work to be done before we can actually take advantage of a lot of these tier 4 stuff, and one of them is the bronze forge, because without being able to make bronze tools and parts, we're stuck. Now, it is worth noting, at least for the map that I'm currently playing, which is the multi-map, little spoiler here, there is not a source of iron that you can trade for. So even if we discovered these locations, if you want iron, you're going to have to go get it. Meaning you're going to need a second colony. You can't just, like, import iron. So, and I believe that is also true of lead. So around tier 3, tier 4, late tier 3, early tier 4, you're going to start to have to push for multi-colonies, where you start to colonize other areas for their resources, where you bring in immigrants, you relocate them, you build new settlements elsewhere, you set up markets, and then you exchange goods with those other settlements. So you would have, just for instance, you might have a lead settlement in the lakes, you might have an iron settlement in the mountains, you might have a copper settlement in the tablelands if you had a settlement rights agreement. Alternatively to a settlement rights agreement, there is the faction entry, which has Hotchdorf join your faction entirely, which is another thing that you could do. But just let you know, like, what it looks like as you continue playing, which is, as I said before, one of the more unique things about this game is that you have, like, complex multi-settlement supply chains. And that is, I think, why your colonists are so good at just being able to feed themselves most of the time. Because it would be really difficult to run multiple colonies if they weren't able to just like forage for their own food. So in your primary colony, there's obviously going to be a demand for like complex foods because they're, you know, they're your primary colony. But like if you had like an iron mining colony in the mountains, their need demands wouldn't be very high. And as a result, they could probably just source their food from a few berry bushes. So once we get the bronze forge up, we can consider finally building one of those big cabins, which requires bronze parts. And you can see that we're starting to get tin bars as a result of mining the tin deposits here, which are regenerative. Slowly regenerative, if you're wondering. There it is. Perfect. So now that we have the copper and bronze forge, if we take raw wood, copper, and tin, it makes bronze parts. And that's what I'm going to want to make first. Now, if we had bronze parts, we could make jewelry. Owning jewelry is one of those tier 4 desires, but for now, we're just going to worry about the parts. So I'm shutting down all the other productions. And then let's let's grab an employee from somewhere. Put them in. Maybe another farm. Because it looks like the farm got kind of fully harvested, and I might not need as many farmers as I had queued up. Which I figured was going to be the case. I only hired that many farmers because I knew I had a backlog of farming work because we had left it for so long. So Kanek here, you are going to start processing the bronze bars. Let's reduce the amount of wood that you need, I guess. And one of the first things I do with those bronze bars is build a big cabin. So I'll drop the big cabin here so that we can expand our population and take advantage of other technologies, like probably it'd be good to get a bakery. Oh, pausing. The queen and king are dead. Elaine storms towards you, worried. A shocking message has reached me. King Hubertus and Queen Louisa have died due to unknown reasons. I've got to return to the capital to stand by the side of my cousin, Prince Oscar. It pains me to leave you with the challenging task of further develop the region, but I trust in your abilities. The other thing is the exotic beer quest that we've had. Let's start importing importing exotic fruits so that we can fulfill that one. And I think that's all I want to export right now. Well, actually, you know what? I want to sell any pottery over 15. Because we basically, our potter is not doing anything. They've filled their internal storage and they're just waiting and idle. So might as well have them work. Wow, we bought a whole 2 exotic fruits. I'm so excited. I'm sure our brewer is like, yay! For that cherry on the top. So it's going to take a minute for Kanek to manage to grab all the resources to make bronze parts. But once we get that going, once we have enough copper and tin and raw wood to jumpstart that, that's going to be really handy into being able to build and upgrade other parts of our supply chain. Almost all of the resources for the big cabin has been pulled in other than the bronze parts. So yeah, it really just is waiting on those bronze parts. And we have the resources in stock for these already. So Kanek just... the trouble is the travel distance. Kanek just needs to travel to go pick up the raw wood, really. Or the copper from the marketplace. But it's happening. Just slowly. I may need to, or may want to, and I'll just do it, move the root cellar to take advantage of more of this space. So what I was thinking is perhaps... once I have other things done, we could consider adding a granary somewhere around here. And then a root cellar somewhere around here as well. Spreading it out. I kind of like that better, because we're going to have more space for stuff. Alright, we got a new message. The brewmaster tastes the drink and grimaces. Tastes like something that takes some getting used to. Probably have to revise the recipe. Alright, so we made the exotic beer, but it wasn't any good. I'm going to stop buying exotic fruits. Yeah, we did buy some batches of exotic fruits here. But obviously that quest is done. And the only quest we have now is Prosperity 5. We already got Prosperity 4. And there is so much to be done before that happens. So we have all the copper here. What we don't have is the tin. The tin's next door. Maybe he's grabbing... I don't know what he's doing. Here, let's follow him. What are you holding? You're holding rough hewn stone? Oh, because you're upgrading your workshop. Okay, so you've upgraded the total use. Yeah, in hindsight, maybe that wasn't a good use of your travel time. Oh well. Too little, too late. So while we wait on the bronze parts to come off the line, I do have 2 quarrymen that are not working high efficiency work zones. So I think another good project to put in would be a stonemason, and I'm going to put it here at this crossroad, because that crossroad just happens to be pretty much where the we got 1 stone quarry there and 1 stone quarry here. So there's lots of stone. It's nearly infinitely sourced. And that's going to be another priority. Now that is a lot of planks to supply, so that's going to take a minute. But probably worth it. Because then we can move this simple stonemason and that simple stonemason away from those 2 spots and consolidate into one area, upgrade that one area, and then also start making stone roads. Because that's the big one. Stone roads are going to help us to move about faster, and we can't do that until we have cut stone. Plus, there's a lot of other upgrades that require cut stone in the upgrade trees. And it would be good to have access to those. I'm looking for an example, like total wood use minus 35%, for instance. Thank you for tuning in to Of Life and Land, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming stream. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow settlers.